What's happening, y'all? I'm talking to you. What up, Doug Spears? Catfish Fry. Jeremy Grasby, what's going on? Charles T. Prim. Bo Wade on drums. Aloha. I'm assuming that means you're in Hawaii. Ben L, what's up? Let me catch up to y'all, man. That's right, Ben. Take a seat, man. We're going to be here for an hour. If you got a practice pad, pull it out. Harry Jenkins, how do I get myself to sound good? Well, you're not going to do it by doing nothing. Practice. That's how you do it. Yeah. Big Clatter is here from Finland. Finland. Worldwide, man. That's how we do it. Yeah. Who else is here? Sweden in the house. Brazil. Ha! Carlo, thanks, man. I'm digging the beard. I don't know why all of a sudden. Well, actually, I do know why. I think it was just time. Time to embrace my age. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's time. Yeah, Andre from Brazil. What's happening, man? Who else is here? Kerry Wallace. Jim Barcelona, he's a regular. He's back. Is that Justia? Justia Justice? Is that your real name? Justia Justice? That's pretty cool. Should be a pop singer or something. Who else is here? Christopher Simpson, or Christopher Simpson, what's happening? Yeah. Who else is in the house? Pam is jamming. Thanks very much. Yeah, man, I didn't plan on showing so much gray, but I gotta tell you, man, I'm digging this beard. I think I'm looking pretty good. Belarus is in the house. What? Who's from Belarus? Juliana. What's happening? Thanks for watching. Van Polk is 67 years old. What up from North Carolina? Houston's in the house. Puerto Rico. Guatemala. What? Norway, Argentina. Listen, I just got here. This is making my day. I didn't realize so many people were watching from all over the globe. This is very cool. Rich from the UK on holiday in Turkey. Excuse me. Somebody's on vacation. D. Simpkins says my tuning video changed his life. You're welcome. That's all I can say. Carmelo Ocana. Does it make sense to have a 13 and 14 inch on a drum? Of course it does. Do whatever you want, man. You can do whatever sizes you want. My buddy Pam is in the house from Whitby. What's happening, Pam? Brandon Johnson, David Simmons. Kerry Wallace, love you too. Boston in the house. Germany. Just catching up, man. Talk amongst yourselves. We got a lot of comments here. Falls, is that your name? Anyways, he's got an interesting question. He's been trying to learn a transcription of a drum solo, but it only gives the notes. Don't know how to divide it into left and right strokes. How do I tell what's left and what's right? Listen, don't worry about it. That's the answer. Read the figures, right? Sing them in your head if you can, and then just play them. It doesn't matter what hand you lead with. Transcriptions don't, I mean, unless you're in a drum line where you have to sync up with, 37 other drummers, the sticking doesn't matter. All that matters is that you play the figures correctly. So, quick answer to that is just figure it out. Paul Westerfield, do you ever sit still? I mean, without sticks in your hands? Not really. I do two things when I'm sitting on the couch in front of the TV. I'm either on a practice pad or I'm online shopping. I have a slight addiction to online shopping and got a closet full of clothes to prove it. Bangladesh. Is that Rifat? Rabi? What's going on, man? Shout out from Canada. T-Drums wants to know, do I have any problems with blisters? I don't now, but I used to. If you're getting blisters as a new drummer, those are growing pains. It's just going to happen. You're going to get blisters, maybe a couple of calluses. They're just growing pains. While you're trying to figure your grip out and stuff, that stuff's going to happen. Especially with this. Like when you start getting into learning traditional grip, you're going to go through a whole lot of stuff. Cramps, spasms, blisters, calluses. It's all growing pains. Don't worry about it. They'll eventually fix themselves. Jay Little, what are my thoughts on Pearl Export? The Pearl Export kit is probably the longest running, best selling intermediate kit on the planet. For I don't even know how many years running. I had a Pearl Export kit. I had a nice fire engine red Pearl Export. I think I had a, what was I doing? 8, 10, 12, 16, I believe. Loved them. They're great drums. I don't think they're as good as the Stage Custom Birch, just saying. But yeah, if you got a handle on one, grab it. Still great drums. Annette is from the Netherlands. What's happening? Bobby Spence, you're welcome. Santi has an interesting question. Says, I'm having this trouble where the more I learn, the less I feel I can play, and the worse it sounds. Like I'm unlearning the things that took me so long to learn. Is that normal? That's an interesting question. Sometimes as a beginner, especially now with YouTube and stuff, you know, you spend a lot of time on your own working stuff out, and then you jump on YouTube and you find out you're doing everything wrong. So, you know, and sometimes that's the case. Sometimes it's not, you know, because there's never just one way to do anything. So anyways, yeah, man, as a beginner, like your head can just be eventually full of so much information. You don't know how to make sense of what up there. The only thing I can tell you is this is going to sound a little weird, but sometimes one of the best things you can do is just don't worry about all that stuff just yet. If you're having fun just playing, then just play. All of that other stuff will work itself out later. For the first 3 years that I was playing, never took a lesson. Just played the records, and that's it. I didn't really start digging in to what I was doing, you know, and diving into proper technique and all that kind of stuff until like, you know, 4th or 5th year playing. And that's only because I started listening to a lot of jazz fusion, and you can't mess around with jazz fusion. You can hack your way through a rock beat, but when you're trying to figure out Chick Corea tunes, you got to know what you're doing. So, you know, after 3 years of just having some fun, playing along with albums and stuff, I eventually bought a bunch of instructional videos, and it just kind of helped to clean everything up. So if you're at that stage now, you know, you're in the beginning stages, you're a little bit overwhelmed with information, stop looking at all that information. Or pick 1 or 2 sources that you really like and then just watch them. Because, you know, the beauty about YouTube is that there's a ton of instructors out here showing how to do stuff. The unfortunate thing is that not all of them are good. Quite frankly, there's people out here teaching that shouldn't be teaching. I'm just saying. So, you know, you got to choose your instructors carefully. But, you know, in the beginning, man, just have fun. Seriously. I think Victor Wooten was one of the greatest teachers on the planet. Man, yeah, anyways, he's got a great analogy. And it really has to do a lot with the growth process, right? When you're a baby, you start to grow up, you know, year by year by year. Nobody really teaches you too much about how to do, you know, just your basic stuff. A lot of stuff you figure out on your own. And then later on, you know, you start to get in there and you start to learn what syllables are, and you start to learn what paragraphs and accents and all that kind of stuff is. But in the beginning, you just start talking. And a lot of times it's fun. You don't even know what you're saying, but you're still having fun, right? So yeah, listen, this instrument right here should be fun 100% of the time. If you're not having fun, you got to start to adjust something. Something needs to go if you're not having fun at this. And it's quite frankly, it's hard not to have fun at this. So that's all I'm saying, man. I might have started rambling on that a little bit, but If you're overwhelmed with information, stop. Just jump on your kit and swing the sticks and have fun. And then watch this channel, because I got the stuff. Mumbai. I did so much talking, man. I missed all these comments. Hold up. Let me go back. Somebody here is named It's Me. Hello, it's you. He wants to know, or it could be a she, but they want to know, should they get live private lessons? Been playing for about 7 months. You know what? You can sort of use the answer that I just gave to the last person on that. If you've just been at it for 7 months, man, there is so much stuff to learn. There's a lot of stuff to learn, and it never stops. I've been playing almost 30 years. I'm still learning a bunch of stuff. If you want to get lessons, you totally can. I would suggest just get lessons to just to learn the proper techniques as far as how to hold the sticks, how to use the pedals. Stop there. Once you know that, I say just go off on your own for a little bit. That might be wrong, but like I said, in the beginning, you just want to have fun, right? So my advice, take a few lessons on how to do stuff right with the hands. And then I would just have fun just playing the music. Just play along to a bunch of music. That's probably the most fun you're ever going to have practicing, is playing along the songs. And it's going to suck. It's not going to sound good in the beginning. I tell you that right now. But it eventually will, like once you start to figure stuff out. But the most important thing, like when you're just beginning, the most important thing is learning how to use the hands, right? Once you get that down, for me, man, I have just as much fun on a practice pad as I do here, because I just love moving the hands. So if you'd like to get some private lessons, you totally can. Whether you want to take them at a music store or study with someone specific, somebody that's teaching privately, like a professional drummer, you can do that. The only thing that I don't want to say don't like, it's sort of a minor con for me, is that when you're just learning how to play, you're very impressionable. And you might end up with the wrong teacher that will end up telling you, this is how you do this, and this is how you do this, and this is how you do this. And you walk out of there thinking that there's one way to do everything. Eventually, you start to take on your teacher's personality. There's way too much stuff out here to learn to do that. So, again, have some fun on your own for a couple of years, and then you can sit down and study with somebody. If that makes sense at all. If it doesn't, let me know. Sergio, Beat Boy. Have I considered the new electronic Yamaha kits? I haven't sat around one yet, but I heard them. And yes, they do sound pretty amazing. As far as electronic kits go, and they've been around for a really long time. I'm just going to take a break from the pad for a second. They've been around, electronic kits have been around for a long time. And I've played a ton of them. And they're all horrible. I hate them. I don't like electronic kits. I'll say that. I'll be 100% honest with you and say I can't stand electronic kits. Let me rephrase that. They do have their purpose. I like electronic kits for some purposes. For practicing, they're fantastic. Trying to play like a live gig on one of those is a freaking nightmare. I cannot stand it. Sometimes I'll show up at a church and there's an electronic kit on the stage and I just feel like walking out. It's a horrible experience playing those things with other musicians. But this new Yamaha kit, or this new series of electronic kits, somehow they got it right. And when I say that, I mean comparing them to a lot of the other flagship electronic kits out there. All the Roland ones suck to me. I'm going to be completely honest. They have been around for a really long time. Even the flagship kits suck. They all still sound like toys. Not a big fan. But the Yamaha kits, the new ones that just came out, I got to tell you, man, they come pretty close. I still wouldn't ever choose one over an acoustic kit, but they came pretty close. Well, so one day when I get the shot, I think there's some sitting at the office, the Yamaha office here, up here in Toronto. So one day I'm probably going to sit down and try one out. But I'm just not a fan, man. I do not like electronic kits at all. Somebody just dropped a super chat. Who is this? Infinity Split. What's happening, man? Thanks for the super chat. Would you say the great Stuart Copeland would speed up live? Absolutely. Stuart Copeland was notorious for speeding up. Oh yeah, it's one of the things that Sting used to hate about his playing. He would constantly speed up. But hey, you know, dude had a lot of energy and he was still a genius, so yeah. Just reading. Who is this? Is that Mattia or Mattia? Mattia? Anyways, he's got a quick question. Says he goes to a local blues jam every so often and wants to make things a little more interesting up there without going into overplaying. First of all, it's kind of hard to overplay playing the blues because a lot of times it's a lot of the same stuff. You know, it's just that kind of thing all night. All you really got to do is you just have to you have to learn how to sort of navigate around that sort of triplet feel. Like that, or 12/8 or whatever you want to call it, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. You know, there are a few, I think I might have a few videos on how you can actually, there's a couple of 6/8 videos that I have where I'm just giving tips on how to play fills in 6/8. It's the same thing. There are a lot of really tasty things that you can do in a blues setting. You just have to sort of learn how to use triplets to your advantage when you're sitting in that pocket. But like I said, it's hard to overplay when you're playing the blues. You're doing something really wrong if you're doing that. But because of the movement, it's just so laid back. It's kind of tough, you know, to play anything out of place in that setting. So one thing you can do is just just sort of remember the pocket that you're in, which is that feel. Like that, right? There's a lot of things that you can do just within that pocket as far as playing fills and stuff. You know, a lot of unison fills with the hands, so you can go, you know, that type of thing. And you can also incorporate 16ths, straight 16ths inside of that 12/8 feel as well. So you can go, that type of thing. So yeah, man, you just got to learn how to use your subdivisions within that pocket, and you'll be fine. And then just use common sense. Like, you know when you're overplaying. So, you know what I'm saying? Who else is here? It's me. Thanks for the super chat. And you're very welcome. Sean, Xavier Harvey. Just heard a bang upstairs. I don't know what that was. Yeah. Sean wants to know matched or traditional sticking. Says my chops are better traditional, but playing match, not much. Don't like traditional. Pick the grip that you want, man. There's absolutely no need to overthink that question. If you favor one grip over the other, then just stay with that one. Traditional grip is an option. It's just another way of speaking. Like, it's not something that you really need to learn. I suggest every drummer learns it because it's just part of what we do. You know what I mean? Like, it's part of being a drummer. If it's available to you, why not learn it? For me, traditional grip is like playing, like driving stick, right? You don't have to necessarily know how to drive a manual transmission to have a driver's license. But it's a cool option to have if you can learn it. So, you know, think of traditional grip that way, but there's no right or wrong grip. Seriously. Pick the one that you gravitate to the most and just stick with that one. Christopher G from Buffalo, what's happening? Greetings from up here in TO. Samuel Moses is from India. And I love your lessons and your recent cover of Chucky's in Love. If you haven't seen my recent drum cover, I just dropped it like, I think it was yesterday, as a matter of fact. I played the first song that I ever heard Steve Gadd on, which is a tune called Chucky's in Love by Ricky Lee Jones. Super fun tune. It's on the channel. Make sure you check that out. Zero, what's up? Doing fine, man. Who else is here? Chris Schuster, what do you think about hair metal drummers? Listen, let me say something about metal drummers. The hair metal guys with the giant kits, if they're still around. If they're not, you got to travel back to the 80s to go find them. But especially like the speed metal, dark metal, those drummers. If you want to get into double bass technique, those are the dudes that you want to check out. Metal drummers have the most ridiculous feet I've ever seen in my life. If you really want to get into bass drum technique with both feet, you want to get both feet in shape, those are the drummers to check out. You might not dig the music, but at least find out who the drummers are and see if they have any videos. Because, man, ridiculous feat, those metal guys. Ray234, greetings from Nigeria. Thanks, man. Shout out to Nigeria. Brandon Johnson, could you do a review on the EC2 frosted heads? I haven't done a review on them, but we did pick up, we had to change all of the drum heads last year on our kit at church. And those are the ones that I chose. So if that endorsement is good enough for you, take that with you. The frosted EC2 heads are really, really cool. They have that sort of built-in, I don't even know what they did with that control ring underneath it. It looks a little space age. But yeah, the frosted EC2s, man, they're really, really, really nice heads. They sound awesome. They're super easy to tune. So if you're thinking about them, snatch them up. Houses, is that how you say it? Houses, houses. Greetings from Argentina. Shout out from Canada. Thanks for watching. M. Rick wants to know, did I ever have to work a non-music job before I was a successful musician? Yeah, man, I had a few jobs. The one that I had before this one, before I ended up, becoming a full-time musician, I worked at a music store. So I don't know if I can count that as, a non-music job, but I worked at a music store. I was in a drum shop. Shout out to Long McQuaid in Oshawa, Ontario. I was there for about 8 years. But before that, I did all kinds of stuff, man. I used to work at a design store. I was the only guy working with like 12 women. And I was the wallpaper guy in a design store. And I actually loved that job. It was a really cool job. I did that, man. I used to work in a Persian rug place. I did all kinds of stuff. But when you know what you want to do with your life, you just got to run after it. Who else? Luis Josu Amaya. Did I say that right? I think I did. Do you recommend Drumeo to improve drumming skills? Of course. Listen, it's the greatest and biggest online source for drumming on the entire internet. If you want to try it, as a matter of fact, nice little segue, you can try it for free. There's a 30-day free trial link in the description box. If you want to try it for yourself, free, for 30 days, you can do so. Hit that link in the description. But they've added so many new features, new coaches, new teachers. It's ridiculous, man. Like Dennis Chambers is on there now, Simon Phillips. Who else? Steve Smith. It's chock full of drummers, chock full of amazing drummers. And once you join, you just click on a lesson from anyone you want in there. It's really cool. So yeah, I highly recommend it. Gary Miklos. How do you keep your hands relaxed? Mental focus. I don't know if I'm relaxed or not too much. That's a decent question. That's totally a mental thing. or at least it was for me. You have to literally keep reminding yourself to keep your hands relaxed. One thing that I started doing a couple of years ago, because there have been plenty of times where, you know, I'll be playing along and like I know when things are getting out of hand and I'm starting to redline, you know what I mean? So one thing that I started to do for myself was I started asking myself, if I ever get to the point where I can't play a clean double, I need to calm down. That's my sort of threshold. If I get to the point where, you know, if I go to play a double and it sounds totally crappy, then I know that there's too much tension in my entire upper body. So I just have to remind myself to relax. As a matter of fact, I don't wear it anymore because for some reason my wrists have a strange reaction to metal. But at one point I got a bracelet done and engraved. Can't remember what it said because a while ago. But I got a bracelet engraved just at the mall, like it wasn't expensive. And it was just a reminder for me to relax 100% of the time. And it worked. The reason why it worked is because, again, it's totally a mental thing. You just have to keep reminding yourself to relax. So you can try that trick. You know, just say, listen, if you're ever in the middle of playing, just find a convenient spot where you can play a double stroke. If you can't play it nice and relaxed and clean, you're far too tense and you just need to calm down. That works. James Myers from Detroit, what's happening? Let me catch up. There's a whole lot going on here. Scotland's in the house. That's crazy. Danny Willis, would you ever remake your first video? The hip hop one. I will eventually. Yeah. I'm starting to go back to my older catalog now and seeing what needs updating. And there's a lot of them, man. I got over 500 videos on this channel. That's a lot of stuff. So, you know, I'll eventually start to go back, take a look at some of the older ones and, you know, see what I can update. Because, you know, I've learned quite a few things over the last few years. And it might be cool to go back and, you know, watch those old ones and see how I can refresh the information. So yeah, I'm totally going to do that. Who else is here? Is that Wallstib? I'm going to say Wallstib. Because why not? He's saying fast singles aren't everything, but we all want them for our bag of tricks. What's your number one exercise to speed up your singles? That's a good question. First of all, I just want to start by saying, and you probably know this, or you might have heard me say this before, but when you're learning any rudiment, speed is never the goal. It should never be the goal, okay? Because I can tell you right now, the least important thing as a professional drummer is speed. No one will ever hire you to play fast. Remember that. The thing that should come first is form and technique. Once you get that down, then you can gradually work your speed up. You start going for speed first. If that's the only thing on your mind, it might sound fast, and that's all it's going to be, which makes it useless as far as I'm concerned. So form should be everything first. So, if you're a master grip player, the first thing you should do is just, concentrate on proper form. And you can do this with both grips, right? So you can do it French, right, with the fingers, or palms down, German. I say do both. But one tip that I can give when you're learning how to play fast singles, because the thing about fast singles is that you also want them to be strong, especially when you're going around the toms, right? So my suggestion will be to first concentrate on using all wrists. Start there, okay? Because, with the French grip, you can use your fingers to get that kind of thing happening. But you can also, like if you work long enough with it, you can get your wrist to move almost just as fast. The reason why that's important is because when you're playing fast fills around the kit, that's where your strength comes from. You get a lot of speed with the fingers, but you don't get as much power. So, my favorite exercise when I was learning how to play fast singles, repetition, man. Repetition fixes everything. Just get the right form down. Watch the hands and just do this. That's it. If you're sitting in front of the TV, that's all you need to do, seriously. Because what's happening now is that your muscles are learning how to move correctly to get the job done. Once that happens, you start to add the speed. It feels just the same. It feels just as comfortable. Once you start to take it to the kit, they're going to sound just as strong. So using the fingers, relying on rebound and stuff. Rebound is cool, but the thing about rebound is that you don't get a ton of power with it. So, going back to the whole speed thing, if you're going to learn one thing fast, singles are the way to go, because there's a lot of benefits to just being able to play fast singles. Matched or traditional doesn't matter. The important thing is the muscles that are involved with playing fast singles. Because, for example, right, being able to do that with the wrist. If I take away the left hand, right, now I'm doing that, and guess what I'm doing? You can take that and apply that to playing the hi-hats. If you want to play fast singles on the hi-hats. That type of thing. It's more about the mechanics involved with playing fast singles than just being able to play fast singles, right? You want to benefit from all of the things that are involved with playing those singles so that you can take those things and apply them to something else. So if you're going to go for speed on anything, do it for that reason. You know what I'm saying? There's a couple of super chats here. Who's here? Clay Foster, what's up? Thanks, man, for the super chat. Spirit Walk. He's on Drumeo and wants to know if I do Zoom lessons. I do not at the moment, no. I haven't done any sort of private teaching in a long time. Channel kind of keeps me hopping. and I got to keep my schedule free for other things. So no, not doing any Zoom lessons right now. Sammy's got a great question about drumming and fitness. Samuel Moses, shout out for the question. And it's not a weird question. So does your body fitness affect drumming? 100,000%. Yes, it does indeed. During the lockdown, I've been gaining some weight and I feel kind of off when drumming. That should answer your question. But yeah, man, like fitness and drumming, it's literally one and the same. Really, this is the most physical instrument that you can play. You can lose weight. You can burn a lot of calories playing this instrument. So it's, because it's so physical, you kind of want to be able to stay in decent shape, and it will, in fact, help you play better. And yeah, it's normal. Weight goes up and down. I put on a little bit of pounds, over COVID as well, that I'm currently dropping. But I did notice, like, once I started, back in the day, like when I started going to the gym, doing a lot of lifting and stuff, I noticed right away how much better I got just because of that. But it will definitely affect your playing, especially if you put on a lot of weight, because your breathing gets heavier when you put a lot more weight on, and it's quite frankly just harder to keep up. And you find yourself, because there's so much breathing involved when you're playing, you don't want any obstructions happening there. So if you've been following my channel for long enough, you might know that at one point I was way heavier than I am now. I got to the point where I was damn near 300 pounds. I weighed in at like 289 at my heaviest. And, I went to my doctor and, he recommended that start losing some pounds. So I did. Like right away, I got a gym membership, started hitting the weights. And after a few months, it took me, I noticed a difference after a few months, but over the next year and a half, I dropped like 70 pounds. Completely changed everything. I literally became a better drummer because of it. So if it's just a few pounds you're talking about, 10, 15 pounds over COVID, that's no big deal. That's not going to affect you. But, once you start putting down 40, 50 pounds, that's going to be a problem. So you just got to find ways to keep fit. I do a lot of walking. It's not super intense stuff, but I love walking. I get up in the morning when the weather's good, walk for about an hour and a bit, hour and 20 minutes, throwing a podcast, clears my head. I do some weight exercises almost at the end of every night of the week. Nothing intense, just throw some weight around. And it just helps, man. It totally helps your drumming. So to answer your question, it was a long answer, but yes, it does indeed. Alex Flores, along those lines, was asking, he does a lot of heavy weightlifting and wonders if it affects flexibility in the forearms. It will. You really got to stay loose. Like, how are you working out? Are you working out like a weightlifter, or are you working out like an athlete? If you work out like an athlete, then there's tons of stretching involved. Then you're going to stay flexible no matter how much, how much rock you put on, you're going to stay flexible. One drummer that just got yoked out is Matt. Matt, oh my gosh. The name is escaping me. Animals as leaders. Somebody help me out. That dude is jacked now, man. And he was an amazing drummer before, but now he's just a freaking powerhouse. Matt Garska, that's his name. If you watch any recent videos of Matt, that dude, you can tell he's been hitting the gym pretty hard. Jervis Furman wants to know, how do I get back into drumming after a long break? Just get back into it. Just jump on the kit. You know, start moving the sticks around. If you've been playing before and you took a long break, you're not going to forget anything that you learned before. It's like riding a bike. The reason why they always compare the whole thing to riding a bike is because it's all about the way the muscles move. The reason why you never forget how to ride a bike is because the muscles know how to move, right? It's in here now. It's the same thing with drumming. So it doesn't matter how long of a break you took from drumming. As soon as you jump back on the kit, it's all going to come back. So yeah, jump on the kit, man. Just start moving the sticks around, maybe play along to some music. And, you know, just work your way back into it. Got another super chat here. Dooley still. Use the 4800 doubles video almost daily. Thanks. That video is helping out a lot of people. If you haven't seen it, a few years ago I put up a video called 4800 doubles. It's basically just 20 minutes straight of double strokes. If you haven't done that video yet, that thing will whip your hands in shape like you wouldn't believe. Check it out. Let me just go back and make sure I didn't miss any super chats. Thanks everyone for coming. Wow, it's almost 4 o'clock already. Just flew by. Yeah, man, I appreciate you guys coming out to these live streams. We try to do it at the end of every month, typically on the Friday, last Friday of the month. We come here, we hang, talk drums or whatever else. And it's a good time, man. It's always a trip seeing where you guys are from. And it's just good to know that these videos are reaching everyone out there. It's crazy. I'm going to answer this question from Cernio. Cernio, what are your tips for writing drum parts for a new song? Well, it starts, first of all, with working out the parts. If you know how to write just like basic notation, which is really all you need to know. Like you don't need to be able to write giant drum scores or anything. If you can just write out basic drum parts, you're good to go. But it starts with the creativity. Sit on a kit, man, and work out some parts. And once you figure out something that's cool, then just figure out how to write it out. It's really as simple as that. Don't start on the paper, is what I'm saying. Start on the kit. Start with the cool parts, and then just write them out. Wow. So many comments. Jesse from Quebec, what's happening? Pam from Jammin is in Los Angeles. Doc is from Cork, Ireland. You're a powerhouse. Thank you very much. I got to start landing the plane, man. We got 4 minutes left. New Zealand, Paul Bishop. What's up from New Zealand, man? Oh, Higgins, you're welcome. The Drumman 77, how long did it take you to develop your speed? I don't know. It's not something I ever paid attention to. Because again, I'm more concerned with form. That's it. I've worked quite a bit. There's been very few occasions where I've really had to play fast. So it's just not something I'm concerned with. But I don't know. I mean, depending on what it is you're working on, if it's just hands stuff, you'll notice a difference. A few weeks, you notice yourself start getting faster. It doesn't take long. Like, it doesn't take muscles a long time to learn, you know, how to do a particular movement. Where we at? 3 minutes. Yeah. Alex Flores, one more question. As a pro drummer, how much time do you spend studying other greats? I go through phases. I go through drummer phases. Back when I was, you know, learning from instructional videos and stuff, you know, I would sit on one until I was ready to move on. Dave Weckl is one drummer that I used to watch a lot. He's got some of the best content for learning on the planet. There's a DVD that I bought called The Next Step. Actually, at the time, it was a VHS. I don't know if you guys remember those, but yeah, he had this Contemporary Drummer Plus One package. And I bought a video called The Next Step, and I must have studied that video for like 2-3 years and learned a ton of stuff from it. So yeah, man, it's a big old friggin' drummer buffet out there. You know, if you find yourself learning a lot from one drummer, then just stick with that one drummer. Then just absorb whatever they got for as long as you need to. And on that note, y'all, guess what? It's 4 o'clock. Thank y'all for coming. This was a really cool hang. These hangs are always cool. The hour just kind of flies by. That's why I do an hour and not 30 minutes, because just like that. So yeah, man. Thanks everyone for coming out. Hey, if you're digging this t-shirt, guess what? This is one of the newer ones in the shop. Established professional drummer. You can get one of these. These come in a few colors. And guess what, man? If you're not an established professional drummer, you can get one anyway and work your way up to it. Think of that. So thanks for watching, everyone. We will see you hopefully at the end of next month with another one. Got a new video coming up for you next week. Probably, I don't know which day yet, but we'll get one up there. Keep practicing. Thanks for watching. Drop a comment below afterwards